Can you really bake in a Coleman folding camp oven? Today we're going to find out.
Welcome to Two Camping Gurus. If you like camping in the great outdoors, you are in the right place. Let's get into today's content.
So I'm actually a little excited about this one because we're seriously considering during the build of our bus not putting an oven in. We're probably having a convection oven, but we do like to do a lot of stuff outside, cooking outside. Traditionally when we go camping, and as we're building this, we're keeping that in mind. I'm wondering how well this thing really works. I know there's probably gonna be a lot of heat loss because it's very thin metal. This thing has been kicking around for a long time. We've never used it. We're gonna set it all up here, but I'll be honest with you, I'm gonna set it up on the stove here, the Coleman stove that we've done a review on. I'll put a link in the description for that, and of course this table, but we're gonna bake the item that we're gonna bake today in the house on a gas stove just because it's 25 or 30 minutes. I'm here at home. I don't want to waste propane on the little stove. For any of you that say, hey, well, you didn't really do it on a camp stove, you're right. I'm not going to do it on a camp stove, but I am going to test to see how this oven works. I'm going to do it on a house stove, but it is a gas propane stove. Well, let's get this thing opened up and see what it looks like and see how difficult it is to set up, because I've never set the thing up. It's never been out of the box. I've opened it and looked at it, but that's it. All right, so you can see it folds pretty flat. And some of the features it says is, it's great for baking or keeping food warm. It has a 10-inch square rack that's adjustable for 3 different cooking heights. It folds flat for easy convenience. Easy to read thermometer. Oven is designed to fit Coleman liquid fuel and propane camp stove. So it's designed to fit these. It's corrosion resistant, aluminum finish, cleans easy, by Coleman, the outdoor company. So let's just pull it out of here and see. And there's the stove itself. There's the rack and instructions. Maybe we ought to get the instructions. Oh, who needs instructions? We'll get those when we screw something up. Okay, well, it seems like it's just going to kind of unfold here by itself. Bam. So yeah, you can see, I'll tip it down so you can see what happened here. So those just opened up like that. Now I'm guessing this, well, there, you saw that happen. That just folded down. You do have this little notch here that has to open. So I'll show you what I just did. Hopefully you can see this little latch right there that's on the outside. I basically just opened it up, put the bottom down, and then closed it like that. So now the bottom is locked into place. Hopefully you can see that. And then it looks like you're just going to grab this here and bring this up and lock that into place as well. Ooh, the sun's coming back out. We'll take it. Alright, so it's a little challenging getting this to, because you got to hold both these sides in like this for these little locks to grab these little lips here. And I can get one side, but I always can't get the other. There we go. There we go. Okay. Perfect. Now we'll go ahead and lock that in place. There you have it. The stove is almost ready to go. But I see I missed on the bottom those same tabs, so we're going to go ahead and fix that real quick. I'm going to unlatch this latch here and lift the bottom up, and then I got to push the sides in, so when it goes down, grabs those. There we go. Now all 4 of them are locked in. We'll go ahead and lock that back into place. That's it. The stove is together. And you got this handle here to lock it closed. You do have a big thermometer. Again, it's thin, so I don't know how much heat loss you're going to have. Significant amount. If you have no other way to bake anything, this could be it. See how this works. So you have 3 settings. You just kind of lock it in to one side there. So I'm just putting one side in the little holes, so you can see it'll be sticking out right here. And then I'll just push this side down until it pops into that side there. There's enough flexibility in the sides that allows you to do that. So that's one height there. Now, the flexibility is important to have, but that's also a good reason to make sure you lock the base in, because you don't want this side to be able to pull out and for your grate to drop while you're cooking or trying to grab something. It's a good way to get yourself burned. So to take it out, I imagine you just push the side. Now I can go up a notch, lock it back in. There's a medium height, and then up to the top, lock it in. There's your top height. It feels pretty durable, to be honest with you. I mean, you're not going to cook a turkey in this thing, I don't think, that's for sure. You probably could cook a chicken in here. First impression, I like it. It's I said it folds down flat, can go right out of the way, but you got yourself a little oven here that you can cook with. Now let's just see if it actually does fit on top of the Coleman stove. We'll move that over here. And I'm going to look at the instructions to see if it says, where to place it. I did a review on this stove, and it's, it's an honest review because we've had this thing for so long. It does have some broken parts. I do talk about that in the review, so if you're interested in that, I'll put a link in the description. You can check it out. All right, this is where I'll read the instructions real quick, just to see what it says. So give me a second to do that. This is where the instructions made sense to read, I guess. I will say it does fit over this large burner here, so I guess you could put it there and bake on it. It does say for a 2-burner stove to actually fold the right wind guard against the lid. So that's what it says to do. Now, I don't think they're talking about this stove as a 2-burner stove necessarily, but maybe they are. And then this would sit right like that, centered, because the wind guard would stop it from going here. So I guess you could cook it on it just like that, and that does appear to be, yeah, that's pretty centered over that main burner there. So I guess you could use it there. I will say it does seem to fit pretty nicely over this. This is a much larger burner. Maybe it'll get too hot for it, I don't know, but it does fit pretty nicely over this whole cooking surface. I can put it just like that. It's not exactly level, but it's very, very close. And now you're getting the heat from that whole entire larger burner. It's got that whole shaft that's going to be heating up in this. Again, I told you, in all honesty, we're not going to be cooking on this stove today because the item I'm cooking takes 25 to 30 minutes, and I don't have enough propane to do that, and I really don't want to waste it when I have a gas stove in the house. The only main difference is I'm not going to have any wind in the house, so it's going to stabilize the temperature, and the cooking time would probably be more accurate to the item I'm cooking. Whereas it even says in the instruction, wind conditions and outside temperature and stuff is gonna affect your cooking time and the temperature of this oven. You know, if you have a lot of wind blowing and it's getting through all these little holes and cooling that air down, your cooking time is going to increase. That's just common sense. It makes sense. It's not, you know, it's not the unit's fault. It's just, you know, it is what it is. In the house, I won't be dealing with that. So we're gonna take this in the house, and I'm gonna bake a item in here and see how it turns out. So we'll see you inside, right? So we're back here in the house, and of course, as expected, almost instantly, it's climbing quite a bit faster. It's well over 200 now and climbing. We need to get it to around 350 for the item we're cooking. So this should work a lot better on this burner. So it creeped past 350, and I had the burner on high, so now I've turned the burner way back to see if we can get it to stabilize right around 350. So now I got the large burner on a low setting. It was right up like that when we were first heating it up. And this only took really about 3 to 5 minutes to get up to this temperature. And right now, like I said, it's a little bit over 350, but not too bad. And we're just sprinkling the cinnamon on there. Tracy is. And then just gonna put the next layer of the cake mix on, and then we'll sprinkle cinnamon on top. And it'll be ready to put in the oven. Maintaining right around 350 to 375, so we're going to call that okay at the lowest setting. I'm just putting the final cinnamon sprinkles on the top of it here, and then we'll place it in the oven and set the timer for the... I didn't show the making of this. Tracy made it, but it doesn't matter. The whole point is, will it work in the stove? Just follow your directions of whatever you're cooking to make it normally. The only difference is we did use a different size pan to accommodate the stove. I mean, so the stove can accommodate the pan a little bit better. Probably not the optimal size pan for this particular item we're cooking, but it should be fine. So we're going to go ahead and put this in the oven. So we're up to temperature. I'm going to go ahead and slide this in. I'm going to use a glove. I don't know how hot this knob is. Probably, well, you know what? Let's just test this so we can tell you. Oh, the knob is fine. You definitely can open the door up. And then so we're just going to open that up. Slide this in. I got it on the middle setting. Hopefully that's where it should be. And then we're going to close the door. Lock it. Temperature's right around 350, 360. And we're going to set the timer for 25 minutes. We are counting down from 20 minutes, and when that goes off, we'll check to see how well this thing is done. So as expected, putting that in, of course, there was an initial drop in temperature down to 300. And so I just cranked the heat back up on it so we can get it back up to the cooking temperature required. But the cake mix is in there, so we'll get this back up to 350, and then we'll just keep an eye on it and adjust it, accordingly, just like an oven would come on and off We're just going to be doing that manually, keeping an eye on the temperature. So simple enough so far. All right, so within just a minute or so of me cranking the temperature way up, it's right back up to 350. So of course I've turned the burner right back down to its lowest setting, and it's maintaining 350 quite nicely. That's a pleasant surprise. I mean, as thin as this thing is, and the walls of it and all that, you know, there's not much to it. It's maintaining the temperature pretty decent, and not a lot of time. Like right here, I can put my hand right here. It's warm up here, but not hot. Now, if you touch it, of course, it's hot, but it's not like it's not radiating off tons and tons of heat, which is good. And of course, at the seams, you can feel more of the warm air coming out. But overall, it's not ridiculously hot right here and dangerous. Definitely not something to use around kids running around, of course, because you know, it's just sitting there. Even if you were using this outside on the grill, it's just sitting there, so it's not something that's going to be stable. So keep that in mind too. There is a little distortion in the metal here, which is to be expected. It's very thin, of course, and it's getting very hot. So where it locks in here on the side, this particular side here is pulled down a little bit, just the metal itself is warping, but it's still locked in. Everything's fine, temperature's maintaining perfectly fine, and it's cooking away. We got 3 minutes to go. We're thinking it might cook a little quicker because there's a thinner bowl, thinner pan than we normally use. So I'm just going to open this door here real quick and just kind of peek in. Oh yeah, it's looking pretty good. In fact, we might want to test it, poke and see if it's complete. So we'll do that in just a second. So I got the camera, I'm going to open it up. Tracy's going to go ahead and poke it and see if it's ready. It's definitely not ready. So we're going to close it up and keep going cooking. We added 3 minutes. You know, and this is really not even uncommon for a regular stove. You know, when you cook something, every stove cooks a little bit different. So sometimes you have to make adjustments. Look at that. Knife came out perfectly clean, and there you have it. So total cooking time, we only added 5 minutes, and it looks just as good as it would have coming out of a regular oven. So the final test will be us tasting it and see how it really tastes and if it cooks the same. So what's my final analysis of the portable camp oven? It folds down flat. I think it works perfectly fine. We tasted it. It tastes just like you would if you cook in a regular oven. So it cooks the same. You do have to adjust the temperature setting yourself because a regular oven, of course, is going to turn on and off. But after doing it a few times, I was able to kind of zero in on a setting that maintained that 350 pretty close with very little adjustment. We did have to add 5 minutes to the cooking time for this particular recipe, this thing we made. But honestly, I think that's no different than cooking your regular oven. You put in the recommended time. Every oven's a little bit different. You're going to have to make adjustments. You test it to make sure it's done. So pros, very portable, works good. It's got the nice thermometer here so you can maintain the temperature. The handle stays cool to the touch, even though this thing, when we had it first lit up, it was over 400 degrees. You could still touch the handle. It's warm, but it's not hot. The rest of it is extremely hot, so definitely not to be used around kids, or at least used somewhere where they can't have easy access to it, because this thing will burn you. I mean, it is scorching to the touch. So I wouldn't say it's super efficient like a regular stove because it's not insulated, and a lot of that heat you lose. But it does work. So something that takes 20 minutes to cook, we did in 25 minutes. So it didn't really use up any more gas, maybe even less than you would have used in a big oven firing up a great big thing. I definitely recommend it. We'll be bringing it with us in the bus when we're traveling, and when we do future camping. We have not used it out in the field, but maybe before we are out traveling, we will do another test with it actually on my Coleman stove as well. Now the cons to it is, like I've already mentioned a couple, it does get very hot. The metal did distort a little bit with that temperature, but it's normal. As it's cooling now, it's coming back to its normal shape. Didn't affect the use of it whatsoever. So, and you do have 3 settings of the rack in there, which I showed earlier in the video that you can adjust. I put it at the setting that lined it up with the thermometer here, so we knew we were close, the temperature was close to where it should be for the item we were cooking. So probably like anything, it's trial and error as far as where you want to put stuff in your oven, a higher rack, lower rack, what works for you and what your particular item you are cooking. I'll put a link for one of these down in the description if you're interested in checking them out. I can't remember what this cost. We got it quite a while ago and just haven't taken it out of the box. Check that out. Don't forget to swing by our website, twocampinggurus.com. And also, if you're interested in that pre-trip checklist, I'll put a link for that down in the description as well. Click on that. It's going to give you a free ebook and a checklist to make sure you and your rig are ready to hit the road. Have a great day. Happy camping. And we'll see you in the next video.